Gordon, why don't you start out and tell us what did you do at NAU that probably contributed most to helping you in your career and your success? What one thing would you say you just couldn't have done without? And it's okay to say math, okay, or any of those kind of things.
Did you
So
say math?
math, like adding. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I went into television journalism because there was no math and very little spelling originally. This is going to sound funny, but I went to class, and I listened to the professors and took things to heart. Now, that may sound basic, but it's the really basic stuff that gets you out there. I still remember Dale telling the stories about make yourself indispensable wherever you are. And he's probably told you all the story where he was the one that volunteered to do all the affidavits at the radio station where he worked. I always tried to find something like that. I also cleaned my eyeglasses with my tie, which I learned from Marty Summerness. Marty's not here? But I always thought that was the funniest thing ever, and I still do it to this day. But you go to class, and especially here, and as Liz alluded to, and the general, we're so lucky to be Lumberjacks because here, I hope it's still the same. Very small, from the looks of this room, still very small classes. You have the opportunity to really get some personal advice, really get personal instruction, and then get your hands on the equipment. Like I said, I got to direct a football game that was televised. Granted, it was in Prescott, but it was on the air, and I was in charge. I got to be in charge of an entire season of a TV program. I got to be on the air, and the reason I got to be on the air, just like Dale said, I was the one who raised his hand and said, I'll do the 6 a.m. Sunday morning shift. And yeah, we didn't always get on right at 6, but we were pretty close. Take advantage of the things that you have here. Go to class, listen to people. I know it's tough to come to work or come to school hungover. I know sometimes they have these classes at the ungodly hour of 10 a.m. But come, because this is formative time in your lives. And you know what? Take some classes that are not in this building, because you're going to change your careers a lot, as I think the general's going to tell us more about. Being in communications is everywhere. I've been through some training and I've been through some emergencies where even the FEMA guidebook has the commander of the entire situation, whether it's a small flood or whether it's Hurricane Katrina. You have the commander and you have three different areas, and the fourth area right at the top, in on everything, communications. You have the golden ticket to get you into just about anywhere.
thank you. Elizabeth, Liz?
Well, one thing I wanted to pick up on what you said, Gordon, was going to class, because I didn't always go to class, but when I was an instructor at NAU and taught news writing and was on the other side of it, I thought, why aren't these kids coming to class? They're missing out. So it kind of took a while for me to get that perspective, and that's a really wise piece of advice. I think the most important thing is getting involved in as many things as possible. You might not think you want a radio career, but sign up for KJAC. I did everything there was to do, and I was really glad I did, because I know it made a difference in my career paths, plural. So.
Thank you. Les?
I originally came to NAU to be a forestry major, and we love the outdoors, the mountains, the wildlife, and my dad retired in Phoenix out of Luke Air Force Base, and I thought there was no place else I wanted to go other than Northern Arizona University, and forestry was it. Well, after the first semester, not quite what I expected, so I went into land use planning. Not quite what I expected, so I went into civil engineering. Not quite what I expected, especially after I saw my GPA, so I went into something else. But along the way, I took this communications class, and I just loved it. And so I switched majors. So my my junior and senior years, I had to take a whole bunch of classes to graduate on time. But there was no doubt in my mind what I wanted to do, be in the communications business. And it's interesting, as Gordon was talking about, communication is leadership business. And so you are in that inner circle, in the C-suite, when a CEO, the chief financial officer, the chief operating officer, when they're looking for advice about the future of their company, about launching a product, about handling a crisis, they're calling the lawyer and they're calling the communications expert. And that's you. And so if you really enjoy, I mean, it's invigorating, it's exciting, no 2 days are ever the same. I mean, it's an exciting career, it's an exciting profession. And so 30 years later, or 30 years plus, still doing it, love what I do.
Thank you. Bo?
To echo a theme here, the most successful people I know in business speak well and write well. And that's what you're being trained to do in this environment. So my advice to you is embrace it, the privilege you have of going to this university. You've picked a fabulous area of study. Get involved with the paper, get involved in production, get involved in social media, get involved in all the different aspects of what you can do here, and try different things. This is the time to experiment and see what you like, what you're going to like to do, and what really motivates you and makes you get passionate about the business. But it's a fantastic career, and lots of opportunities, and it's only getting better. I mean, communication is become, it's more complex, and we're not old dogs, but we're we're old, we're experienced, right? And you can get intimidated by that, and or you can embrace it. And what's wonderful about your generation is that you speak the native language of today. We're pretty good at it. I mean, we've learned the language, but we're immigrants to it, and you're natives, and that's an exciting place to be.
I might add, too, when they're talking about trying different things, try different things in communication. Try to get a production person to take advertising. Oh, they don't want to. But on the other hand, they're going to have to work with ad agencies, and it sure does help to kind of know the people you're working with and around. And who knows, you might be exposed to something that you really do like. So go ahead and take different facets of the communication world. Okay, that'll pay off for you. I used to have students that would come to me and apologize for, I'm moving into public relations now. I'm going to be a public relations officer, and I don't want to disappoint you. Hey, that's part of the communications field. You don't have to be a morning DJ or be a TV anchor to still be in communication. We're all involved in that together. So diversify within the School of Comm.